The Ready for a Relationship podcast helps people just like you who find themselves single and alone in their later years get unstuck and break the pattern to move forward and build the loving relationship you expected to have at this point in your life. Discover how to build your relationship with confidence in a fun, easy, loving way so that you are the right person for your right person. And if you enjoy the show and want to share some love, subscribe, rate, review, leave a comment. It all really helps. Here's Suzanne, the host of your show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Ready for a Relationship podcast. I'm Suzanne, and I am so excited today to welcome a special guest, Sonya Berg. She is a financial educator and strategist. So are you ready to talk about how to find some certainty after, you're no longer in a relationship, you're no longer a couple, and how to find some financial certainty. So Sonya, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Suzanne. I'm excited to be here. I love to help people with finances, and right now, I think we're all looking for some certainty. I believe that right now, times are uncertain, and so what can we do to find some certainty? I know, divorces can cause more uncertainty in not only in family relationships, but also in finances, and they can be messy. So it's more important than usual maybe to do some planning. So I guess you probably all heard that the little quote of most people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And even though you've heard that, isn't that so true that if we don't plan, and we don't want to fail. So planning is super key in our finances.
That's awesome. And may I interject something in here, right?
Please.
When we've gone through a breakup, when we are no longer on the path that we thought we would be, and sometimes we feel like we no longer have control. When we can look at our finances and we can make some plans, we can feel like we can take some of our control back. There is something we can do, right?
There is, exactly. And, even if you weren't the primary financial person in the family, but now you are, now you can take that and say, what are my goals? What do I want now? And so that's a really good place to start with looking at your financial goals and your commitments too. So you'll want to look at your wants, your needs, your dreams, your wishes. And so you not only have the current ones, but you may have new ones that are different when a relationship is no longer there, or when you're in starting a new relationship. So you don't want to just look at your current ones. You also want to look at new ones and shared ones.
Okay, so everybody take note, right? If you want, pause the recording right now and stop and write down how did you say it so well, Sonya? What are my dreams and goals?
Yeah. Your needs, your wants, your dreams, your wishes.
Okay. So stop, write that down. Okay, now that you're back, what do we do with that list, Sonya?
Well, a really good, the way I look at it is, let's look at it like your house. You're building a house, and you need that really secure foundation. So first you need to build your foundation, put all your needs in there. What are your rent, your mortgage, your food, transportation, utilities, all that. Those are your needs. So you need to make sure that you have that secure foundation. And then is it safe? do you have a secure base, or is some of it at risk? Is it like at risk in the stock market, or is it at risk for a major illness or accident? And so, like Suzanne said, write down those wants and dreams and wishes, and then the needs are going to be your foundation. And then you go to the first floor, and that's where you go to your wants. What are your wants and dreams? And then I look at the second floor of those are my wishes, my maybe legacy planning, or my big, huge dreams. And so then you have that there's your house. And then you got to figure out where you are in the construction of the house.
Wow. I got to say, who's feeling more in control now? Right? Like, I love your picture of a house, Sonya. To get the basis and then to plan, and we get to be the architect.
Exactly. Yes. How exciting is that, of what we want to put in that house? But I guess, just we can't emphasize how important that foundation is. Once we're secure in that, then we can have a safe and better first and second floor.
Wow. That's got to make all of life better, right? When you feel like I'm in control, I've built this, I'm building this. This is the plan. This is the goal. All of a sudden, you have a focus.
Right.
And you feel better. Okay, can I ask a question? You said something and I'm like, I don't know what that would mean. You said your needs covered in the foundation, and then you said, is it safe? How do I make sure whatever I have is safe?
Well, for one thing is, a lot of people like to invest in the stock market, but it's very important to have something that is secure first, especially when we're in our 50s and 60s. When we're younger, maybe that's not such a concern, but
I know that.
Yeah. With the roller coaster of the stock market, and if you have if you have a lot in there, that principle and all that you've gained in there, from one day it can just drop. And do you have time for it to come up? And so that's where, where we want to find something that is safer. And, like savings accounts, they're not too exciting, because it's just like almost like putting money under your mattress, because, it's safe. Maybe it's safe there.
Saving accounts, you kidding? With all the fees, I sometimes feel like I'm losing money.
Yes, exactly. You have to be careful, and there are accounts out there where you don't have all those fees, and where they look a little bit better than those savings accounts, but they don't have the risk of the market.
Okay, so just give us a little idea, just little pinpoints of what would be safe places to put your money.
I think where we need to talk more about individually, what do you have now, where do you have it, and then put a plan together of look at the different options. And so, and that's where I could come in and be able to plan individually and provide different options.
Okay, great. That sounds good. Okay, so I feel more secure already.
Okay, all right.
I'm already at that age where volatility, no thank you. Been there, done that.
Right.
Ended up losing a lot of money. Thank you very much. Now let's go for more tried and true. Okay, so we're building the house. Wants, dreams, top floor, legacy, planning. Love that. What else do we need to know?
Okay, well, I think then we want to look at, you may need to have two plans, in fact, because you may need to have one that covers your existing family. You might not have minor children, but if you still do, you need to consider their care and maybe educational savings for them. And you want to make sure that you don't have issues when it comes to one family and another family and families together. So I think right now might be a good time to share a story that I have.
I love stories.
Okay, all right. So a friend of mine, her Aunt Karen met and married Brian. They both had married children or grown children, and they were married for 10 years, and then Brian fell ill. And after about a year, he passed away. And his children were very determined that Karen wouldn't inherit any of their father's estate. So, but, is that what Brian would have wanted? And how could Karen and Brian have prevented issues from either of their deaths? And so that's what we want to talk about. What did they both need, and what did they both want? So that's where we want to make sure that Brian, what he could have done was protect both his new wife and his grown children from some of the stresses and hardships that came with his death. So by planning together for the future, they could make sure that there's a retirement plan, that there's life insurance. And so one thing that they could have done, they could have both had a life insurance policy that had the other as the beneficiary. So so Karen would be taken care of, and the grown children could have the rest of the estate, knowing that Karen was taken care of is what we want to make sure. It's so important.
Right. Or vice versa, if it had been him.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, right? So often you think, oh, it's just young love. You get carried away and you don't worry about anything. But, even as we age, we can get swept up, create even that new relationship, and then forget that we still have to do some financial planning.
Yes, we do. And money can be the biggest problem, the biggest issue in marriages or shared relationships. Money can create resentment and feelings of abandonment. So, a really good solution to mitigate that is to have open, honest communications and about that plan, that the current plan, the shared plan, something that you can have together, and don't be afraid to talk about it, because
I'm even a strong believer of letting everybody know what the plan is. Everybody in the family, right?
Yes.
If you've got, it's one thing if you've got young children, those of course take priority. But, if you've got adult children, maybe things get shared a little bit more equitably. The last thing you want is everybody fighting with everybody.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Even the grown children, they could be fighting.
Exactly. Happened to me, folks. So we know from which we speak.
Yeah.
Right. When my mom passed away, my brother and I it was a challenge.
Yeah.
So it's a really good idea to have all of this in place.
It is very, very important. So maybe I could share a little bit more about when divorce happens. I would say that it's a trigger for you to look at your life insurance, whether you have any right now or not. If you do have it, you really want to look at who are the beneficiaries on it. I know I've heard of cases where the ex-spouse is still named as beneficiary on a life insurance policy. And, that's not what was intended. But, if you don't change your beneficiaries, then you're stuck with that. So you want to look at that. And then.
Good point, Sonya. Thank you. Just saying thank you on behalf of all of our listeners. I'll say thank you.
Yes. Right. And then, there's, when we get down to it, there's not only primary beneficiaries, there's also contingent in case, if it's your spouse and you both were in an accident, let's say together, then there would, the contingent beneficiaries would be very important. So, but then you also want to look at your coverage. Is it enough? Is it too much? Do you need to add some? Like in the case of Karen and Brian, they could have added some for each of them if they already had something that provided for their other family, or they could have just moved it to each of them. So there's a lot of choices to be made, and you want to figure out how is the best way to figure out how much do I need. And then a very important thing, I think, to look at is it the new kind of life insurance, or is it the old? The old kind of life insurance is one that it pays on your death. So the new kind is much better because it has what we call living benefits in it. And so it gives you the opportunity to use it when you're alive if you would really need to.
Wow. Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so all the things that you should look at. Sonya, this is so great. And I know there's more things.
There is. Yeah. So
go ahead.
Yeah, I just maybe want to say a little bit more about living benefits. So
okay.
What that is, it gives you a plan of the unexpected that I mentioned up there in your foundation. So if you were to become ill or be in an accident where you're not able to work any longer, or you're going through a care period that you don't have current income coming in, then this is where this would come in and be able to help you. There's a lot of bankruptcies in the US, and you would be amazed at the large percentage of it that are from medical bankruptcies.
Oh,
because people might have health insurance. So, I'm covered, I'll be fine. But it's that when they aren't able to work, that's when the income doesn't meet the expenses anymore.
Okay, so in that case, you could use the living benefits from your will in the newer will.
It would be the new kind of life insurance that would provide
the new kind of life insurance. Thank you.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, this is great. So our listeners may know I'm actually Canadian. Sonya is based in the US. But it makes me, Sonya, do you have any idea? Do they have this new type of life insurance as well in Canada?
I don't know, because I just work in the US, because I need to know taxation rules and all that. So I'm work mainly or all together just only in the US.
Okay. But we can look into that. That's a good thing to note. And I'm pretty sure we're, being cousins and all, we probably have some of the similar things.
I would guess so. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So, folks, I can tell, Sonya, you're going to have to come back and be a guest again. Tell us a little bit more details.
Okay. That would be awesome.
However, before we finish up this podcast, tell us again, what do you think are the most important points to drill home for anybody who's now found themselves single, they're on their own? What are the key things that they should look at?
Well, actually, there's one more that I haven't mentioned yet, and I think that it's very important, and that is what do you have saved for your retirement?
Good point.
Yeah. So in the U.S., we have Social Security, and there's lots of talk of will it be there, but it was really never meant to be a retirement plan. It was meant to just cover a portion of what people would need, and so in a divorce, you may have had a retirement plan with your spouse, but did you lose some of that in the divorce? And so do you need to make up for it? And so then it's also, do you know how much you will need? If you do have some Social Security or some other, retirement accounts from different places, do you have enough, or do you know how much you need? And so it's really important to look at that and find out what that is, where that is. And then I guess what I said before about safe accumulation and that safe foundation, to me, when, after 50, it's hard if you lose any of the principal you have. And so there are accounts out there where you don't have to worry about ever losing your principal or the earnings that you've accumulated on them in the stock market. You don't have to worry about that risk. So look at the options that are out there. There's more than just risky and super, and super safe, but low earnings. Even though interest rates have gone up for a long time, you were lucky to get 0.5%. But there's better options now. So there's a lot you can do to come up with a good plan.
Wonderful. Sonya, thank you. Again, what I would say, it's taking your control back when you feel out of control. Situations have happened that you may not be that pleased with when a relationship changes. Take your control back by getting your financial house in order. Boom.
Exactly.
Right?
I love that, because just being able to sleep well at night when you have that control and know what you're going to do and have a plan.
And that says it all, Sonya. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. It doesn't actually say it all. There's so much more to discuss. Folks, I would love for you to put in the comments section if you have more questions, if there is something you would like us to discuss with Sonya on a podcast in the future. You got to let us know. You got to let us know what's important to you, because we always want to talk with you, not at you. So let us know what your comments are. Post these in the podcast or on the YouTube video that you're watching. All of Sonya's information is going to be posted in the notes so that you can access her directly if you want to ask her specific questions. So you can find her information there. And I just want to remind you all that we have on my website, readyforarelationship.com. We have some further support for you, other podcasts, blogs, and a masterclass that I created just for free to help you get rid of a lot of the baggage you may be carrying so that you feel lighter as you put your financial house in order and take your control back.
Wonderful. Thank you, Suzanne. It's been such a pleasure to be here with you, and all the listeners. You're so lucky to have tuned into Suzanne.
Thanks, Sonya. Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Talk soon.
Here we are at the end of the podcast, and you just got some Suzanne loving. If you got value out of this podcast and you want to spread some love too, subscribe, rate, review, leave a comment. And who was it that you were thinking about who could also be uplifted by it? Share it with them now. Catch you next time.